Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today my Sty and I would like to welcome you to chapter 23 of King of Scars. So in this Isaac chapter, we might be finding some love connections. Let's jump right in. So Isaac made it through the first 3 days of all these parties and meetings without any more attempts on his life. But really, I'm just wondering, is that considered a success or a failure then? Today is supposed to be a pretty carefree day for Isaac though. They get to go out on this nice luxurious boat ride around the island that's by the little palace. And they arrange for him to spend some time with the Shoe Princess. Not all for romance, of course. They want to get more information about this guard that might defect. All Isaac needs to do is just be his charming self.
Or Nikolai's charming self.
You know, just casually ask her about her guards to get any information that he can. This makes Isaac a little bit nervous, and he wishes that the twins could just buddy up to the rest of the shoe guard. But it turns out they think the twins are actually worse than the Ravkins. Yeah, they're dad's shoe, but they chose to follow
Santa Alina.
And then they chose to follow Nikolai. Isaac's pretty nervous though. He doesn't know how to talk to girls. He was like, yeah, my mom told me I was handsome, but she told my sister she was a good singer. Yes, sir. So I don't know if she's telling the truth. To relax a little, Isaac does his best Nikolai slouch and not care about anything. Lets himself indulge in a few sips of wine to calm his nerves. Whenever I read this part, I was like, oh God, oh honey, you're gonna get drunk and make a fool of yourself and almost blow your cover. But he didn't end up doing that.
But it would have been fun.
Even though Isaac is trying to relax a little bit, he is still keeping his ears open to all the conversations going on the boat. He overhears the Fjordans ask about going to visit the Grisha school. Jenya's like, sure, it would be my pleasure to take you there. Might be a little bit boring though, all the students are gone. And the Fjordans are outraged. They're like, what would you mean all the students are gone? Jenya goes on to explain, yeah, they kind of get underfoot. We didn't want them to bother anybody.
Or, accidentally set anything on fire.
The Fjordans call BS on this, and they keep accusing Jenya of evacuating the children. But Jenya's like, why would we have to evacuate them if there's no threat? Fjordans walk away, they're mad, but at least Jenya gets a little chuckle out of it because she really enjoys thinking of all of these strong, brutal Fjordans having nightmares about small children setting fire to them. Isaac asks Jenya, so did you really evacuate them or are they really on a school trip?
Duh!
Of course she evacuated them. She couldn't have their most precious commodities be in a place with so many enemies. And if the Fjordans are scared, they'll be less likely to act. This makes Isaac pretty jealous of Jenya. She's just so comfortable with all of these people and the conflict and the conversations going on. But the reason she got this good at playing, the games of court is because she was thrown into it. She explains how the Darkling gave her to the queen, and for some time she was the queen's pet and her favorite until the king got his eye on her. And by that time, the Darkling didn't care what happened to her as long as he got information. So yeah, she knows a lot about court politics and how to play the game, but was it worth it? Before they can go any farther with this conversation though, they hear a splash. One of the Kirch merchant daughters has fell off the side of the boat. And right away, I am assuming some rich uncle has just pushed his niece into the river to catch the king's attention. There was a lot of that fairy tale talk happening, like old school meet cutes. Jenya sees this opportunity. She's like, hey, you gotta jump. You have to save her. You have to look good. But Isaac can't swim. Jenya is annoyed but not really surprised. She has a plan though, so she's like, just jump in, just don't flail around. As crazy as this is, Isaac listens. And as he is sinking, Nadia comes toward him with an air bubble and they start going after the girl who fell in.
Very Harry Potter.
When they finally reach the girl, Isaac grabs her and they go to the other side of the island where no one can see. Turns out it's a girl named Brigitte and she's alive and well, thankfully, once the twins get all the water out of her lungs and help her breathe again. After that, everyone scatters. They have to make it look like Isaac rescued her. And when she comes to, Brigitte takes one look at Isaac and bursts into tears. And Isaac's just like, oh, I understand, you just had a near-death experience. It's okay, I understand why you're emotional. And Isaac scoops her up and carries her off because that's what would look best. But she's really heavy. She had that big yellow dress on and it's weighing Isaac down. And finally, everyone can see them and see this heroic moment. So Isaac plops Brigitte down like a pile of wet laundry and basks in the glory. He even bows to her and kisses her hand. Isaac's like, at this rate, I'll be burning the place down by tomorrow. When they get back to the palace, Isaac takes a nice long bath. The thing he'll miss the most about this whole job is the bathtub. He stays in there for a really long time. He doesn't want to go out and face anyone. He's feeling really down on himself right now. But once he starts to prune and the water goes cold, he forces himself out to go see everyone. And once Isaac is out, he's told this mishap is a good thing. Yeah, he didn't get to talk to the shoe princess, but he looks like a big hero. And there's more good news. David traced the trigger to that little gas bomb on the door, and it turns out it's Fjerdan. That's good because it means that the shoe and the Kirch are there to actually become allies. And in other news, Damar searched, all the shoe guard's room and didn't really find anything. Oh, and the Kirch made an attempt to break in on the labs. They let them get pretty far and grab some blueprints along the way. But the real show will be at the Gilded Bog. Remember, Nikolai wanted to blow up those flying pancakes and maybe even fake drown some guys. This news actually excites Isaac. He's always wanted to go to the Gilded Bog. He's heard so much about it. Once everyone clears out, Isaac flops down on his bed and he realizes he needs to take a walk to clear his head. There's just too much going on, too much to think about. Isaac and Toila and Toad take a walk down to the conservatory where they just happen upon the shoe princess. Isaac realizes that he missed out on a big chance to talk to her today, so even though he wants to be alone right now, he has to seize this opportunity. So he'll just try to be as charming as possible and get as much information out of her as he can. Isaac's pretty lucky though. He doesn't have to do much. Princess starts talking to him first. Turns out they both wanted some alone time, but it's not so bad that they ended up here together. Princess Aries pretty worried that her guards are going to tell on her if she doesn't try hard enough. Her sister would be pretty upset.
And probably saying her name wrong.
At this point, Isaac isn't even trying to be charming. It's just happening. They're just having this nice, natural conversation. He starts asking her some personal things. Isaac asks her, since you're not going to be ruling, what are you going to do instead? She's like, marry you, of course.
No, so funny.
But Isaac really wants to know what she would do. She surprises him by saying, I wish I was a soldier. In this moment of real, genuine conversation, Isaac catches himself being himself. He's more Isaac than Nikolai. He even lets an Isaac laugh slip, and he's worried that one of the guards that knows Nikolai really well might have overheard. So he has to make all these Nikolai witty comments to cover it up.
Eerie.
The shoe princess is getting pretty into this conversation too. She said she revealed something honest about herself, so she wants him to do the same. He does in fact admit that he did want to be alone when he came out here to the conservatory, but he's very glad for her company. Since, the start of the day was pretty rough, the whole girl drowning thing happened. Princess has to break it to him. Pretty sure that was staged. Matter of fact, her own guard suggested her jumping off the boat too, but it wasn't quite the risk she was willing to make. Isaac's like, yeah, why risk doing that when I can just catch you here looking like a beautiful painting?
There's a romance blooming in the conservatory.
Isaac asks her just how long were you waiting? Turns out the princess was waiting there for a couple of hours, so long that her butt fell asleep. And I mean, at this point, if you're talking about your butt falling asleep, you're pretty comfortable with the guy. Isaac still has to get some work done though, besides all the flirting. Brings the conversation back to the shoe's royal guard.
Oh, well, yeah, you're sitting for a while, but if you were a guard, you'd be standing much longer than that.
And then this really opens the princess up to some more conversation about the royal guard. She says that these women just aren't chosen. They come from every town, every village, and test for this honored position. And this conversation that Isaac really needs to be listening to is happening, and he's just like,
You're so pretty if you're this pretty. I wonder how pretty your sisters are if you're the ugly one.
But anyways, Aries says that these guards are more than willing to leave their families, but it tends to be especially hard on twins. And to Isaac's surprise, the princess starts reciting some poetry, and Isaac is happy to finish it for her. Tolia's advice is paying off. Isaac and Eerie continue this really genuine conversation about what they would do if they weren't royal. Isaac is being himself in this moment. He's not putting on this mask to be Nikolai. And it doesn't seem like the princess is putting on any type of show either. Seems pretty genuine, which could be suspicious, but
So gonna hope that it's okay.
Once they really start getting into conversation, a whole flock of girls show up. They heard that Nikolai was getting some alone time with another princess, and they had to bust that up. And that is chapter 23 of King of Scars. I hope Isaac doesn't get his heart broken. Isaac seems like he genuinely has an interest in the shoe princess. He finds her relatable, He's not royal. He doesn't want to stay royal. It seems like she doesn't really want to be either. She's more of a free spirit. Like, she reminds me of like a Mulan type. Kind of worried about the Fjordans. Like, they're doing a lot of shady stuff. Like, they set that trap on his door. They're asking about the Grisha children. Like, we already know they're doing all this freaky deaky stuff back in Fjorda. Like, are they trying to do something here too? Don't trust them. And I'm kind of wondering, you know, Isaac's having this really genuine connection with the Shoe Princess, but he rescued the Kirch girl, which, you know, would get them a lot more money if they made an alliance. Is everyone else gonna think, hey, maybe you should push for her a little bit more? He'll have to kind of force this connection with her when he really likes the Shoe Princess, and I don't know, are we gonna get some like tangled, twisted love story out of this? Kind of winding down in the book here. I'm just wondering how far we're going to get in this whole bride picking thing, or in any relationships Isaac may start to have with anyone. I'll stop my rambling for now. Come back for more in the next chapter by chapter King of Scars. Hopefully my sty won't be here to join us the next time, but I'll see you guys soon.